story in a time long ago. A time before face masks, a time before the internet, and a time before femboy anime. Truly dark times indeed. But within the darkness of massive social inequality, 35-year average lifespans, and the constant warring which pervaded the 5th century BC, there was light. Light in the form of a man, his coming foretold by the ages, entrusted to keep balance between nations, bring peace, and restore harmony to the world. That man was the Avatar. The Buddha. The Buddha wasn't a god though, he was a teacher, and a really good one at that, because his many teachings of cosmic law and order, the right way of living, and the pursuit of enlightenment grew extremely popular, spreading like AIDS in a nudist colony to many countries in the East, including a few big ones like India, China, and Japan. Idaten was a guardian deity in the Japanese spin-off of the Buddhist mythology. He was said to possess the power of super speed, and was in charge of guarding the remains and teachings of the now deceased Buddha, regularly repelling thieves and demons from trying to steal the sacred artifacts. Because of this, Idaten would later come to be known as the god of the kitchen and... Hold up. Kitchen? But that doesn't make any sense. God of the kitchen, because people put statues of him in their kitchens, not because he makes the juiciest beef Wellington south of the equator.
You're cooking in a burnt pan, you fucking dick!
Yeah. The Idaten Deities Only Know Peace, as you can probably guess by the title, is an anime about a bunch of gods and godlets who call themselves Idaten, and who have only known these nuts. Being heavily inspired by Buddhist mythology, the show is set in a fantasy world where the good Idaten are locked in an endless battle against the evil demons, just like in the scripture. But instead of fighting off demons to defend the abstract teachings of Buddhism, the anime Idaten do it to protect humanity from something more tangible: the complete and utter destruction of the world at the hands of a demonic rampage. In the anime, the eternal battle between good and evil rages on until one day, the Idaten decide to round up all the demons in the world and seal them under a great big rock for all of eternity. But because the Idaten aren't all-knowing or all-powerful by any stretch of the imagination, the sealing came with a cost. In exchange for sealing away all the demons, they also had to seal away their lives. The Idaten have all but now disappeared from existence, taking the demons down with them, leaving behind a single godlet, Rin, to watch over the seal holding back all of demonkind. Now up to here, the show sounds kinda like your average good versus evil story, right? The good guys steamroll the bad guys, sacrifice themselves for a greater good, leave behind a weak-sauce successor who eventually comes of age and goes on their own epic journey and blah blah blah. Wrong. It gets complicated. The demons are back. More Idaten are born. Hybrid demon people are starting wars. Rin's a terrible mom. Incest are all things that happen. Underage incest are all things that happen in this anime. But it goes deeper. You, the audience, are positioned to observe the lives of the Idaten, following their noble journey as they train relentlessly in preparation for the impending war against the new generation of hybrid demons. The show builds up as the demons realize that they're not alone anymore, and hatch a plot to assassinate the young Idaten before they can get older and pose a threat, deciding to airdrop their strongest fighter onto Idaten Island to take them all out in one fell swoop. Anticipation builds, tensions rise, and your butthole clenches as you get ready for the fight of a lifetime between the quintessential embodiments of good and evil. The bloodthirsty, battle-hardened demon commander drops out of the sky, locks onto her prey, and strikes. Only to get completely washed by Rin, who pulls a on her. Being the first generation of demons born after 800 years, the attackers knew close to nothing about the Idaten and how terrifyingly weak they actually were in comparison to them. And here's where the pattern breaks. The Idaten, realizing the same thing, launch an all-out siege on the human demon capital Zobel, laying waste to the city and its inhabitants, effectively cutting off the head, no pun intended, of all demonkind, forcing the few surviving demons left into hiding. At this point in any other show, you'd usually feel a sense of catharsis. The good guys beat the bad guys, justice is served, and all's right in the world. But for some reason, this time, you don't. Could it be that after witnessing the vicious yet effortless domination of the demons by the idaten, you don't think they deserved the win? Possibly. Could it be that after seeing firsthand the disingenuous dealings the idaten partake in and how callous and morally astray they are, you feel disenfranchised with the idea that they're acting with humanity's best interests in mind? Maybe. Could it be that you don't actually believe the good guys won? At some point in the anime, you stopped cheering for the idaten and started feeling for the demons. While the idaten were out flaunting their power, seeding corruption and destroying cities, you were learning all about the demons, their names, motivations, and how they weren't really wicked, unfeeling, or rotten to the core. Instead of the all too familiar caricature of evil we so often see in popular media, the demons here, in contrast, feel surprisingly human, and therefore, all too relatable. Brandy, the queen of the Zobel Empire and undisputedly the most powerful demon in current existence, is also just a mom who knowingly gives her life fighting the idaten in vain, so her 3 kids have a chance at escaping the impending demon genocide. Takeshita, the emperor of demons and mastermind behind the bloody military subjugation of Zobel's neighboring countries, goes out of his way to preserve human life, and actually seems to have a stronger moral compass than the idaten who killed him. Miku is... she's really horny. The demons are complex and can't be offhandedly dismissed as unidimensionally evil. Sure, they're starting wars, tyrannizing people, and do make a lot of questionable decisions. But then again, so do we. At the end of the day, the demons are fighting for the right to live and reproduce, just like us. But unfortunately for them, they get wiped off the face of the planet, becoming an endangered species overnight, with only a handful of demons left to reproduce and repopulate all of demonkind. Which doesn't really seem like a great idea to me. I mean, in a couple of generations, the family tree's not gonna be looking like a tree anymore. It's gonna be a circle.
Nice.
For God's sake, guys, stop for a second and think about the children. The glow-in-the-dark children with 11 toes and 47 chromosomes. Oh, hang on a minute. All the male demons left are children, so I guess that evens out. There's a reason why you don't see a lot of reverse cowgirl in the anime, you know? Cause you don't turn your back on family. You start this anime on the side of the supposedly quote-unquote good idaten. But the longer you watch, the more you start empathizing with the not-so quote-unquote good demons. They're rational, intelligent, sentimental, and flawed, just like us. And so, seeing them get squashed like bugs beneath the unforgiving heel of the idaten boot doesn't really make us feel very good. But make no mistake, they aren't the good guys either. The demons have caused immeasurable amounts of pain and suffering, and probably even deserved what the idaten did to them. Out of the many messages conveyed throughout the anime, this one in particular rings the clearest. Good and evil aren't black and white. That is to say, don't be so quick to praise what people sell you as good, and conversely, don't be so quick to dismiss what people warn you as evil. This narrative of good being easily and accurately distinguishable from bad is a widely used trope in popular culture, not because of its truth and applicability in our lives. It's popular because it's easy to sell. People don't want to pay money, sit down for 2.5 hours and eat shitty popcorn just to be emotionally constipated and morally confused at the end. People want action and suspense, but most of all, they want an emotional payoff for their time. And it's much easier to give them that when you have a clear good guy they can project themselves onto, and an irredeemable bad guy they can channel all their pent-up frustrations towards. So when the good guy finally beats the bad guy, like they always do, the cathartic release makes the entire journey worth it. But idaten, both the anime and the kitchen god with his scrolls, warns us to be wary of such cut and dry concepts. They encourage us to look at actions in depth, whatever they may be, past the arbitrary label society attaches to them, to understand their underlying motivations and judge them for ourselves rather than praise or dismiss them based on what everyone else believes. Just as the idaten gods sully their reputations of benevolence and righteousness, the idaten demons surprise us with their compassion and empathy. And it is only once we learn to resist deceptive labels and start judging things for ourselves can we stand up and see the world clearly for what it is.